kids knowing that you have them, or just anybody, any individual, knowing that they have a support system, know that they can be who they are around a certain person and be comfortable, know that person will accept them and stand behind them and support them in what they're doing, whether they're happy, scared, sad, or wherever it is. It develops that level of trust where, okay, if this person's with me, I got it, So that's really the biggest thing I try to preach to my athletes. And the biggest, the overall priority that I try to create that space for them. So they're able to conquer those fears and get over those things inside the gym. So when they're outside the gym, they've already practiced that. It's already been reinforced a bunch of times. So when they're in that state or in that competition or in whatever they're going through, that's a little bit more challenging than what they're used to, then they know that, hey, I've overcome things before. This is just something else I can overcome as well.
Greetings, my name is Joel Darkham. I'm a marketer, a journalist, a social impact creator, and most recently an author of Future Makers, a guide to 30 creative careers. You are tuned into EdUp Accelerated Excellence.
This episode of EdUp Accelerated Excellence is supported by the 2.0 conferences to be held in Las Vegas, Nevada, April 7th through 9th, 2026. Business leaders, educators, healthcare experts, marketing and tech professionals, and founding entrepreneurs are welcome to take part. Reserve your space today and receive a 15% discount courtesy of EdUp Accelerated Excellence with the code EDUPXE15OFF. That's EDUPXE15OFF. Check the show notes for more information or learn more and register online at the2conf.com. That's the2conf.com with the code EDUPXE15OFF.
Welcome to EdUp Accelerated Excellence, the podcast for the advancement of educational excellence and equity. And I am your host, Jacob Easley II, PhD, PMP, and today's guest is an expert in sports performance. And I know it's the holiday seasons. We're recording this in November. Some of my friends, we have an internal joke that once Thanksgiving starts, you don't count calories until Valentine's Day. Our guest is Kalebe Ezekiel Easley. He is the founder of Prime Evolution Fitness and Sports Performance. Kalebe, welcome to the show. And could you please introduce yourself to the EdUp Accelerated Excellence community as only you can by giving voice to your name, and just give us a high-level rundown of what's happening right now with Prime Evolution Fitness and Sports Performance.
Well, first and foremost, Dr. Easley, thank you for having me on. I really appreciate the opportunity. Right now, like you said, my name is Kalebe Easley, founder of Prime Evolution Fitness and Sports Performance. And what we do as a company is we work with high-achieving, high-aspiring youth athletes, as far as youth individuals, and we help them become more, we try to channel them to be more inspirational, more authentic, and then also to be able to evolve without limits. So their growth is never capped. How they want to define themselves is never put into one box. And the projects that we have coming up, we're starting to expand a little bit more as far as the clientele that we have in the building. And we're working to outreach more clientele to be able to have them in a bigger space. So that's our biggest project that we're working on right now, as far as being able to help and service more youth athletes in the Southern California area.
So, folks, you probably recognize the same last name, Easley. Full disclosure, Kalebe is my nephew. Yay. So proud of him. So proud of him. So Kalebe, you've been an athlete all of your life. So what are your first fondest memories of engaging in sports and athletics?
It's funny, Dr. Easley, my first fondest memories is just being with, I have older brothers, younger brother, just being in the house and just throwing the ball in the house. Of course, mom didn't too much approve of that, but it's just in the backyard or just in the house, throwing the ball around, playing with neighbors in their backyard. Those are really my fondest memories of getting started in athletics. And from there, it kind of grew into organized sports. Developed a love and a passion for it, and from there, I just kind of climbed the ranks of playing regular recreation, then from there being more competitive and playing travel ball, and then of course playing in high school and also playing in college.
Well, because of the family members, I pretty much know your backstory probably more than many other guests. So initially, when you went to college, you were thinking about education in some ways, or how to integrate education. So how did you pivot from sort of thinking about classroom-based education to fitness and sports performance, and how did you marry those two skills from your early life as an athlete?
Early life as an athlete, I guess just good genes, but I've always been blessed with being around individuals that will like to develop me on the academic side more than the athletic side. Credit to my uncle right here, Dr. Easley, very well in school. Also my grandmother, very, very, very tuned as far as making sure that we're doing things outside of the classroom. To make sure that our education is up to par, whether it's workbooks, whether it's little encyclopedias that we have to read when we went over our house. Even my parents making sure that we were reading every single morning. That education has always been a part of my upbringing, thankfully for the parents and the support system that I had growing up. And then athletics, I always say that in life, you always want to have distractions. You're always going to have distractions. The best thing that you can do is make those distractions as healthy as possible. And that's what my parents did as far as putting us into sports, making sure that we had healthy distractions to keep us focused, that would nurture the skill sets they were also teaching us at home, which is discipline, hard work, consistency, patience, working hard when things weren't the best. So I'm so blessed to have the type of upbringing and support system that I had growing up, that academically we were pushed in that realm, and then also we were also pushed as far as an athletic realm as well.
Oh, I like that word. You said healthy distractions. I don't think I've heard of that before. So parents, if you hear that, this is this idea of healthy distractions that would be good for students. Give us an example of a healthy distraction that parents might be able to engage in today. Because you mentioned encyclopedias.
Mm-hmm.
You may be dating yourself a bit.
Yeah.
So not everyone knows what encyclopedias have them anymore. So in today's context, what would be a healthy distraction?
Healthy distraction, first and foremost, is sports. Another healthy distraction are programs in school. It could be something that like piano is a healthy distraction, or learning musical arts, like as far as learning how to play guitar. Learning different languages is a healthy distraction, and learning different board games like chess, checkers, Connect Four, things that involve strategy. Those are healthy distractions. Being a part of a debate club is a healthy distraction. Being a part of a math club in school, those are healthy distractions. Being a part of the after school program in school is a healthy distraction. We're now in the holiday season where the focus is more so being more thankful, more grateful for what you have. So being out in the community, picking up trash in your community is a healthy distraction. Just things that keep you busy that are also productive. That'll kind of take your mind off. You're just working on filling the empty space that you have. That way you just don't have idle time, but you're also always working and building skill sets and things that can help you progress in your life and also help you become a better person.
I like that. So activities that are fulfilling, but also help to build your skill sets or help to propel you for what might come next in personal life or career.
Correct. Yes.
So when did coaching begin to pick up? Or what was your first experience at coaching?
Sports. And we never like to talk about the negative side of things. I wouldn't really call it negative. I always try to have a positive approach to everything. Like everything happens for a reason. But if you play sports as being healthy and being in the roster, being in the lineup is a part of the game. But the more you play, the more prone you are to being injured, which is also a part of the game. Is as a player, as an athlete that's used to playing, that was the hardest part for me. And going back to, you always want to have a positive approach, and you always want to think about the team first. So when I was injured, and my first injury was in high school, I sprained my ankle, and I couldn't perform. I couldn't help the team achieve our goal as far as being on the field. The next best thing for me was be able to help the players that were in my place, help them prepare. So that was like my first unofficial part of like first unofficial experiences as far as coaching. From there, it grew a little bit more because again, I was injured in college, and that was like another great experience for me to be able to help our teammates prepare as far as film room, as far as strategy, as far as watching film to other opponents, and just helping other guys get prepared to be able to take on that role. And just in sports, you have like this next man up mentality, but you always want to do your part to help the team achieve our goal. And that was really the best thing I could do to help us achieve our goal, which is coming out successful as far as our game and who we're playing and executing the best we can. So that was my first real experience coaching. It's just when I was injured and I wanted to help the team win, and that was the next best thing I could do.
So really that's the skill in being able to pivot.
Yes.
So what did you learn from that first coaching experience? How was it? How did it turn out for you?
Oh man, it humbles you because you realize that things will go on without you, and you want to always try to make yourself as valuable as possible in whatever way you can. And like you said before, it helps you pivot, it helps you get creative, it helps you think a little more, it expands your mindset, it makes you have different perspectives as far as how can I still be an asset to our program, to our team, to our organization, and make sure that we're still accomplishing our goals. And I may be speaking for myself, but I don't think anybody ever wants to feel like they're forgotten. So you always want to try to add value to whatever you're doing, and the best way you can add value is figuring out how to help others. And when I did that, that's how it really came about as far as me coaching. And it was such a surreal experience because, like I said before, as an athlete, when you're actually doing whatever you're doing, and a professional in any career, you never really think about when that day will come when you won't be doing that anymore. But if you have a passion for what you do and have a passion for the thing that you're going after, you're always looking to help mold and shape and grow the next person that'll be in your position whenever you're finished doing whatever you're doing.
Yeah, I really like this idea of be a value add to whatever you're doing. And again, that's a testament to being able to pivot. You're saying you never envisioned, particularly when you start out, that you may not be able to do really well or continue to do what you do today. So in the future, how do you build on those skills, or again, pivot, or to think about it as a source for innovation for what could be next?
Thank you for listening to EdUp Accelerated Excellence. This episode is supported by the 2.0 conferences to be held in Las Vegas, Nevada, USA, April 7th through 9th, 2026. Business leaders, educators, healthcare experts, marketing and tech professionals, and founding entrepreneurs are welcome to take part. Reserve your space today and receive a 15% discount courtesy of EdUp Accelerated Excellence with the code EDUPXE15OFF. That's EdUPXE15OFF. Check out the details in the show notes or learn more and register online at the2conf.com. That's the2conf.com with the code EDUPXE15OFF.
We're speaking with Kalebe Easley, who is founder of Prime Evolution Fitness and Sports Performance. So, Kalebe, when did the concept for Prime Evolution Fitness and Performance come about?
The concept came when I was working at a gym in Southern California. I just moved out to California, and I was accelerating too fast. And as far as the work hours, as far as the standard regular work hour, you can work 40 hours a week. As with my athletic background, that's a concept that I've never understood, just because you've been preached since you were younger and younger athletes that you work until the job gets done. And when I founded the company, I was looking towards something where as an athlete, you always want to be in the prime. When you're in your prime, you're at the best, you're at your peak. So that was something I really wanted to have integrated into the fabric of the company. But then also, I don't like the idea of being defined in one area. I like to constantly be expanding myself and growing, because you never want to seem like you're in a box. You always want to seem like you can be formless like water. It can shift to anything. And that's where the evolving part came in, where I would like for people to continue to grow, continue to evolve, and like I said, continue to define themselves and how they feel versus what society would say. When you've kind of developed yourself as an identity in one sector and one industry and one niche, you rather keep evolving and keep growing and push past those boundaries to define yourself how you would like to define yourself. So those were two things that I really wanted to integrate into the company, as far as being your best, but then also never settling for what society will say that you're supposed to be. So that's where the evolution part came from. So I put those two together, and then from there, the focus is fitness and sports performance. So I added that part on. But the main key was I wanted people to also always want to be at their peak and be at their best, and also to keep growing and keep evolving and never change and never get comfortable with society's expectation that they'll put on you once you define yourself as something in wherever your niche or industry is.
So you work with athletes at all levels. So you talked about starting in your first coaching experiences was in high school. But how did you begin to settle on this idea of thinking about prime evolution, particularly for youth and youth who perhaps stand out in certain areas, or you may find a need with particularly youth communities? So how did that develop?
I kind of fell into it where in sports, I was considered a high achiever in sports because I always did well. That was something I really, really excelled in. And after my sports career was done, I was done playing, I realized the mental damage that being a high performer comes with. Whenever you're out of your element or out of whatever it is that you're really, really good at. And I struggle with this even after I got done with my playing days. And my playing days, I never really had closure with it because it just kind of ended abruptly. So it wasn't something where I was able to take in the fact that, this is my last opportunity. And after that, I want to be able to guide athletes, especially in today's time, especially in Southern California is very, very competitive. I'm very, very focused on high achieving in sports. And I wanted to be able to guide those athletes, those younger athletes that are walking the same path that I was walking, but to teach them that they're more than their sport. Because I was the type of person where I would indulge greatly in my sport. I would give my all to it. And I went through this mental lapse when I got done, and I was looking at it and I was thinking, I didn't get the goal that I wanted out of sports. As far as every athlete would like to play professional in their sport, but it's a very, very small window of you performing at the professional level. And when I was done, I felt like I gave my all to something and I didn't get what I want from it, or I gave my all to it, and since I wasn't that anymore, I didn't have any value in the world, or I didn't really see myself as somebody that had this high self-esteem, or whenever you're doing something, you can do well at it, you have a sense of purpose. And I had lost that just because I wasn't doing what I felt like I would do anymore. But it was only because I wasn't looking at it from the right lens. And what I mean by that is I was looking at it from the aspect of just the sport, but I didn't look at it as far as the skill sets I learned from that sport. Like I learned how to work hard. I learned how to be patient. I learned how to be a good teammate. I learned how to communicate. I learned how to be a good leader. I learned how to be able to support other people. And when I took a step back and realized those things were never really taught to me, like they were taught softly, but those weren't really the hard skills that were really preached to me. It was more so about football, catching the ball or running fast or just effort. But when I took a step back and had a different lens and looked at it from those perspectives, I wanted to be able to preach that to the younger group. That way they wouldn't have that gap in their life where they're just kind of like, well, what do I do now? Or what's my purpose? Or what am I gonna like? Where's my value? Where's my value at now? Where's my self-esteem? I want to be able to guide those athletes and be able to help them in that transition from them not so focused on being good at what you're doing, but also learning and knowing that this isn't just for that sport. This is so, like you said before, when it's all said and done, whether abruptly or whether you have closure with it, you're able to look back at it, reflect, have gratitude for it, which I didn't have gratitude for my playing career for a long, like maybe 3 or 4 years after I got done playing. You're able to look back at it and have gratitude for the things you did, for the things you accomplished, for the experiences you had, and pick up those soft skills that you had and just be able to pivot and go into another direction whenever you have passion for at that time.
So you've been talking about the whole athlete. Idea of what some people might call executive skills, such as or executive function. So How do you remain self-motivated, persistence, etc. So in your line of work, when you're working with your clients, how do you help them to develop them as a whole athlete? And maybe those who aren't going into athletics in a professional sense, but just want to be healthy or engage in sports. How do you help them develop not only technical skills in terms of performance, but also those ideas around motivation, discipline, and emotional control, so on and so forth?
The first step, as far as setting in, that's a really, really great question. The first step is you got to identify their goals. And when you identify their goals, you got to identify what they want. And if it's something that they want, and when I say something they want, it means something that they themselves truly want. Because nothing is more powerful than genuine inspiration. There's like, if I give you an idea and it's not you may go with it, but nothing's more powerful than you creating an idea in your own mind, in your own fabric of your thoughts, and pursuing that. So that's the first step I always try to achieve, is I always try to understand and try to communicate what is it that they want. What is it that you want? And of course, we're human. We always want the best. But if we're being honest, that's never really truly the case. We think we want the best. And that's one thing I try to preach to my athletes too, is that, yeah, you may think you want this, but when I define what it takes to get there, you may realize that, hey, this is not what I want. And I try to preach them that it's perfectly fine. And a lot of the kids I have, they have aspirations of going pro, they have aspirations of playing in college. And I tell them all the time that, hey, like, this is what it takes to get to that level. And this is a chance for you to decide if this is what you want. If not, guess what? You're still important. I will still help you. I will still support you. But we got to figure out what it is that fits your expectations and what you truly want. Now that you have a real picture of what it would take. And then we can maximize that. And when that happens, it's a shift in their mind as far as, well, it's almost like a sigh of relief where they don't have to be everything that they thought they would be, and that people will still accept them, like people will still love them, people will still care for them. They still have a place in this world. And it gives them like a reality check to help them be able to pivot to say, well, hey, maybe like, yeah, that's not what I want, but I can still be the best I can be up to this level. And that it's just the biggest thing is just creating a realistic picture for them, and then helping them and supporting them in that decision and supporting them in what they're doing to still help them become the best they can be, but then also realize that, hey, and we as professionals do it all the time. We think we want something. And when we start to set on that track and we see how much we maybe have to sacrifice, or how much we have to add to us, or how much activities we have to be able to do to be able to achieve that, we don't want to say it out loud. And we kind of just, and what our professionals or our overseers are saying is that we're missing the mark, when really and truly it's just a gap as far as communication and how much we want to achieve and how much we want to do and what positions that we want to put ourselves in. So the biggest thing is make sure that line of communication is always open, and make sure they can always come to me and talk to me and tell me things that's going on with them, and to make sure that we're always clear on what our goals are. That way there's no miscommunication as far as the amount of effort or the amount of things they have to be able to commit to achieve their goals.
Yeah, that's really interesting. I've had a personal coach for a short stint a while back, and the idea of what are your goals at the beginning of the session. Although I would say I don't think we review those regularly enough or at each set. But as you were speaking, it made me think about this. You're working with youth and children, oftentimes. What happens when the parents' goals might be different from the goals that your immediate client expresses to you when you're, in a training session?
That's a really, really great question. It's funny that you asked that, because a lot of times that's where they get their goals from. We all have people, even myself, we all have people that we look up to. We all have people we admire. And as children, the most, I would say, without a doubt, the most important people in your life, the most important people you want to please, and are your parents. And sometimes it takes a conversation with their parents as well, because it's more so about fostering a great environment for the kid to excel. And then if they grow into that, then that's the best thing for them. But also what you see a lot of times is, even as adults, is that the last thing you will want for a kid is for them to experience burnout, or for an adult to experience burnout. Now, me on the forefront, I work a lot of hours. And burnout is really never a concern of mine, just because I love what I do. And I really believe that as well. That if you're really doing what you love, then it's hard for you to experience burnout. So in that conversation with the parents and as far as with the kid, I work to support them as much as possible. And it's a really fine line as far as how much you communicate with the parents, how much you communicate with the kids, but it's just about frequency. So for example, what I try to do is I try to make the most out of the sessions to make sure that, one, the kid is also receiving some part as far as knowing that they have a choice in what they're doing and have a choice as far as having a voice in what we're working on, and also being as realistic with the kid, with the athlete or kid as possible. And then also, if I'm communicating with the parents, making sure that we're also clear as far as our communication as what they're working on. And then also too is sometimes the parent schedule doesn't fit their goals they have for their kids. So for example, they may have multiple kids where they may want their kid to be this, and this, and come 5 days a week. Well, their schedule only supports 2 days a week. So it kind of is that conversation and having like really defining what our goals are and defining what it takes. It clears the air. And the expectations that we have, and then also what's realistic for us to be able to achieve our goals.
So I'm glad you mentioned that about not only expectation of parents and families, but also the resources. So a lot of families, particularly when folks say they want their child to become a pro athlete, they may face, so those parents may face financial or regional barriers when it comes to high-level sports training, not being able to travel to certain camps or having resources to have access. How do you help? What are your thoughts about navigating those realities if you were to counsel parents when it comes to those kind of difficulties?
That's a really great question as well. But it takes, again, it just takes clear communication. And one word I hear my kids say, and they know they're not allowed to say it in my presence, is can't. I can't. Me personally, I don't think can't is a real reason. If it's important enough, you'll find a way. If it's not, you'll find an excuse. Now, of course, there are bearings to that, but there's always ways for you to get creative. There's always ways for you to be innovative. There's always ways for you to kind of look for different outlets and different ways to be able to get things done. It's just more so about, if they're saying like they can't, it's more so not about the ability. It's more so about the belief, or that they can get things done. And a lot of times, me as well, I'm not perfect. We all have limiting beliefs, and sometimes we do things that are out of our scope, that we just aren't used to. So it seems a little bit harder. Whether it's asking for help, whether it's outreaching to different people and seeing what we can get done as far as challenging ourselves. Maybe we have to wake up a little bit earlier. Maybe we have to go to bed a little bit later. Maybe we have to think more so outside of our regular thing that we regularly think about. Maybe we have to try a different program. It's a lot of different things that can kind of block us, and more. It all goes back to down our belief system as far as what we believe we can and can't do. That's really the biggest thing that I see, even in my athletes. Sometimes I'll put a little bit more weight on the bar than they're normally used to doing, and they're having doubt. But the biggest thing is when you encounter those beliefs, or you encounter those behaviors, or you're going through those things, to have a support system. And when you have a positive support system that says that you can, a lot of times that's what enables you to believe that you can. And when that happens, you become more open, you become more innovative, you become more creative, you figure out ways to try to get it done. So it's all about preaching those unlimited beliefs and not letting yourself be limited by what you've always done or what people have always said that you can or cannot do.
And we're speaking with Kalebe Easley, founder of Prime Evolution Fitness and Sports Performance. So Kalebe, you said this word of can't really should not exist, or you don't allow folks to use the word can't when they're working with you. But I want to ask you, because I think now, beyond just your core work, but we're in the holiday season and folks think about fitness, but then we talk about not counting calories at the top of the show.
Yes.
But how do you help clients to develop a commitment to persistence? So if they have this goal, we talked earlier about a bit of setbacks. So if you have this, I can't, Is there a model or a particular approach to help people to remain persistent?
There is, and it's about positive reinforcement. So if I hear athletes say they can't, then I know at the forefront of their brain is more so what they, I wouldn't say been taught, but it's more so what they've been conditioned. And so my whole goal is in a small sense, is a sense of either they're going through something they haven't done before and they're looking for help, or it could be just them not really having the belief that they can be able to get that thing done, which, like I said before, a positive support system works wonders. I mean, I've had kids cry in front of me about things they were scared to do. I've had kids that didn't want to lift a certain weight they didn't think they could do. But when we identify, like, hey, what's wrong? Like, what is our problem? We got to identify the problem first. All right, what are we scared of? And then you basically reinforce that belief that, hey, what has happened if we've done this in the past? And they realize that there's really nothing there to be afraid of versus their own fear and their own perception of what they think will happen. And then also standing there behind them, like being there with them and walking with them through it, that really helps them a lot. And that's one thing I try to preach to my kids that come in the building. And the success that I've had with the kids that come in the building is that they know that when they walk in the building, that they call me Coach Easley or Coach Caleb, they know that I got them. And whatever they're going through, they know that I've had one kid get hurt, and when they got hurt, I was with them. I drove them to the hospital. I was with them through the hospital, and even when their parents came, that's when, and they got the okay that they were okay and that their parents were there. That's when, but kids knowing that you have them, or just anybody, any individual, knowing that they have a support system, know that they can be who they are around a certain person and be comfortable, know that person will accept them and stand behind them and support them in what they're doing, whether they're happy, scared, sad, or wherever it is. It develops that level of trust where, okay, if this person's with me, I got it, So that's really the biggest thing I try to preach to my athletes. And the biggest, the overall priority that I try to create that space for them. So they're able to conquer those fears and get over those things inside the gym. So when they're outside the gym, they've already practiced that. It's already been reinforced a bunch of times. So when they're in that state or in that competition or in whatever they're going through, that's a little bit more challenging than what they're used to, then they know that, hey, I've overcome things before. This is just something else I can overcome as well.
Yeah, I like that idea of a positive reinforcement. And a lot of that is, as you just mentioned, is having someone who can help guide you through that. So if you weren't there, if you could talk about this a bit, and I don't know if you do this work or not, but how do you help folks to think about their own internal talk or thought when they're not in a session?
That's a good question. I haven't really figured that one out yet. And that's probably the biggest thing is trying to help kids that aren't, or individuals that aren't with me. It's easy for us to help individuals that are in our presence, but how can we be able to help them outside of our presence? That's something I haven't really figured out yet. I haven't really tried to digest as much yet. That's a really, really good avenue. If there were ways that we could be able to help kids or help athletes outside of our presence, that would be really, really good. But if you ask me what's the best thing for them, it's finding individuals on the same journey or on the same path as them. And that's why I think I heard before, that association brings on assimilation. So who you are, and if they support your belief system, your belief pattern and support, and they're on the same journey that you're going on, it's a lot easier to kind of keep that, what they quote unquote on the straight and narrow, versus having them around different individuals that maybe not going down the right path or maybe not having the right thoughts and behaviors. And it's especially in today's time, it's tough. That's probably the hardest job ever, is making sure that you're all like your individuals or your kids or your athletes are always in the right space at the right time. It's almost impossible. But the best thing you can do is always try to train them in the right way they should go, and then have the trust in that and trust in your teachings. And as a coach too, I'll mention that too. Sometimes it's tough the biggest thing as a coach is to feel like you haven't served your athletes enough. And sometimes I tell my kids this too. I said, there's no way possible that I can 100% prepare you. There's no way I can have you 100% prepared. And sometimes as coaches, we kind of have that insecurity as far as we know that. And we almost try to press it or try to jam into our individuals, our athletes' head, like our kids' head. And that's like one of the biggest things that I've never really spoken about is that, yeah, like sometimes you are insecure about how much you can prepare your kids or prepare your athletes, but having the trust in your kids and trusting that they can make the right decisions in the right space in the right time, and just having that confidence in them. That's really the biggest thing, and having people around them that support what they're trying to accomplish and support the belief pattern and the belief system that you want for your kids and athletes to have.
Yeah, I like that. I actually appreciate that as well. So, folks who listen to most of the episodes of Ed Up Accelerated Excellence, we often talk about traditional educational spaces around academic education. So can you tell us a success that you've seen in your work working with performance or sports performance that has led to a success in performance or beyond sports for a particular individual or groups of individuals? So what does excellence look like from your vantage point?
Oh, excellence is everywhere, and excellence just means you're excelling. And if you're excelling in any area, then that's a form of excellence. Fortunately, the kids that I mentor, the kids I have come in the building, they're great. They're great students. They're really, really phenomenal students. And that's just a testament to how those skill sets that we have inside the gym or even inside the classroom or wherever you are, whether you're working a job as an electrician or whether you're working a job as an educator, whether you're working a job as a coach, whatever job or industry you're in, if you're practicing those skills of being consistent, working hard, being prepared, giving great effort, trying to learn as much as possible and be the best you possibly can, it's just a testament as far as those soft skills, those habits, and that you can see them everywhere. I don't believe there's somebody that just succeeds or excels by accident. It's very, very purposeful and very, very intentional as far as their skill sets that they possess. And I believe 100,000%, if you can excel in one area, then you can excel in a lot of different areas. I don't believe in you can only excel in this position. Well, just take those same skill sets that you did to excel there, and it may take you a little bit longer. You may not be as talented. You may not be as naturally gifted that other people may be, which I don't believe in naturally gifted, but you may not be as naturally gifted as somebody else. But with the right time, consistency, right effort, and the right information, yes, you can excel in any domain that you choose, that you really, really choose to put your best foot forward in. So excellence is all around me. Like the kids I have, the kids I help, they're on honor roll, they're on AB honor roll. I had a kid coming the other day, and he was upset because he got an 89.80. So he was 0.2 points away from getting that from all A's. And he was so upset. And I love to see it. And not just in sports, but I love to see kids, especially kids, but anybody that wants the best for themselves and wants to strive for the best and really take some type of self-accountability as far as, I want to do better for myself. I want to do the best I can possibly do. So I have the kids I have, they do really, really well in the classroom. They all A's, AB honor roll. I couldn't be more proud of the kids that I service as far as not only in the gym, as far as in their sport, but also themselves in the classroom. They do outside curricular activities as far as band, ASB, a lot of different other things as well. So I'm really, really thankful for the kids I have and the support system they have at home to develop those good habits. Is not only on the football field or softball diamond or baseball diamond or soccer field, but also in other areas as well to help develop as far as an overall individual person.
So let's talk a bit about equity. So the clients you serve and their families are very fortunate to have you. And you've talked about these positive attributes. What would you say to families who may not have access to your talents or your services? How might they begin to nudge or support their children towards excellence in sports performance?
It starts with in the mirror. It always starts in the mirror. The biggest, and I never tell my kids, never tell my athletes this, but the reason why I'm able to hold them to high standards is because I hold myself to high standards, and I expect a lot out of myself. And my goal is I always want to be the hardest worker in the room, whatever room I'm in. And they see it. They see the hard work that I put in. They see the type of attention to detail I put in. They see it's more so I would like them to be a reflection of myself. And I wouldn't want to try to hold them to any standard I wasn't able to hold to myself. So me, I have to be fearless. I have to be courageous. I have to be hardworking. I have to be patient. I have to be consistent. I have to be disciplined. I would like the things I would like to be mirrored, or things I would like for that the skill sets I would like my athletes and my kids to pick up on, are skill sets that I myself need to display for them. Because there's no better, I would say you can't really lead people if they don't look up to you, if they don't admire you. So the best form of how can I get my kid to start reading? Well, how about you as a parent start reading? Or how can I get my kid to start exercising, or my athlete to start exercising? Well, you as a parent start exercising. Well, how can I get my kid to be able to display more patience? Well, how about as a parent or a leader, you be more patient, or understanding, or empathetic, or more courageous, or any type of soft skill you want your, or hard skill that you want your youth or athlete or students to be able to learn, exemplify it. And then from there, they'll mirror it. And if they don't, then you can give them direct examples as far as, this. But the biggest thing is just being a positive role model. If you can be a positive role model for them, and then it's almost like just having them, like just them seeing it. And a lot of times I never really mentioned this too. A lot of times people aren't as visionary as they should be. I know imagination is something that's really not a forefront of people's mind nowadays, as far as the power of the mind and the power of visualization and imagining things. So the biggest thing for people to help learn is they're like them actually seeing it. So you just being that positive role model in their lives day in and day out, and then them seeing you exemplify that behavior is the best thing for anybody that wants to influence any person in a positive direction.
As Prime Evolution expands into media, training systems, and facility growth, what's your long-term vision for the brand?
My long-term vision for the brand, Dr. Easley, is to, number one, is to have an environment where athletes can come and grow and be successful. But also, I would like to develop the future in every sense of the way. So for me, for example, I know I love what I do, but I know a day is coming where I won't be able to do it anymore. And I would like for this vision, I would like for this model, I would like for this infrastructure to be able to pass on and help the next generation. So my goal, of course, in that area is to make sure that there's somebody there that can kind of take over what I'm doing. There's also, the best thing is that the future of America is always at stake. The future of our society is always at stake. So to be able to influence the next generation that's coming up, to model that type of behavior that we would like to see in our leaders, our future leaders, and those skill sets, those kids that are coming up in the future, I would like to help those kids be able to grow and navigate and be successful members and productive members of society. Also, being able to help the economy as far as job opportunities and growth, and giving individuals, athletes, whether 15, 16, 17, 18, young 20s, the chance to be able to grow and make mistakes. And that's like the biggest thing I preach in as far as the facility is that, and here in the gym, it's safe. You're safe, like 100% safe. Like if you make a mistake, you're not gonna get hurt. Nothing's really too bad gonna happen. But sometimes out in the real world, sometimes if you make a mistake, you really can't recover from it, and it's harder to recover from it. So I try to preach those positive habits to the kids in the building, and like I said before, just making sure that there's somebody there. Because like I said, I'm human. I'm not sure I want to live forever, and I want there to be a positive space that can help foster and grow the next generation. So just growing that as big as possible and spreading this message as big as possible to be able to have the assets and the facilities and the resources to help all kids, all youth, even young adults that are looking to grow, better themselves, just give them the opportunity. And that's something I feel like I had growing up, but not as much. So I would really love for those individuals, any individual, youth athletes and young adults that, like, for example, I have interns that are working their first job, learning the soft skills and being able to care, being able to plan, project deadline, and mentoring the younger athletes. That's something I really look forward to in the future, as far as just growing a whole bunch more. Of course, investing into a facility where I can be able to house more athletes. Right now, we're very, very small as far as how many athletes we can service at one time. So I would like to have a bigger group, and just making sure that the next generation are well taken care of, not just for right now, but also the future of America.
So Caleb, of Prime Evolution Fitness and Sports Performance, how might the EdUp Accelerated Excellence community connect with you and engage in some of these interesting and exciting endeavors that you are putting forth, particularly around moving into media, on training systems, facility growth. As you mentioned, you have interns, and you want to grow and expand this network. How might folks engage with you?
Most active on Instagram. You can follow me at International Kalebe. It's spelled exactly how it sounds. International, and then Kalebe, Kalebe. I also have a business page called Prime Evolution FSB. I'm also on LinkedIn under my actual name, Kalebe Easley. I'm also on Twitter as well. It's Kalebe Easley. You can also follow me on Facebook, and then we also have a website up. It's under Vagaro, so primeevolution/Vagaro.com. Those are our biggest ways that we can be able to stay in touch. And I would love to see everybody interacting with our posts. I would love everybody to see what we're doing and how we're doing it. And if they like it and they want to be a part of it, shoot me a message. I'm very, very active. Our most active site is Instagram. I'm very, very active on Instagram. So that's where I post our most recent updates as far as what we're doing in the gym. Different kids are in different sessions, exercises, and things like that.
So Caleb, listen, I want to thank you sincerely for this opportunity to learn with and from you here at EdUp Accelerated Excellence, where we seek to advance educational excellence and equity.
Thank you, Dr. Easley, for having me on. I really appreciate you and the EdUp Accelerated Excellence family.
Thank you for engaging with EdUp Accelerated Excellence, a member of the EdUp Experience network of educational podcasts. You can find this and other episodes on Spotify, iHeartRadio, Apple Radio, YouTube, and other outlets where you listen to your favorite podcasts. If you like this episode, don't forget to follow us and share within your network. To leave a comment or suggest a guest, contact us online at edupxe.com.
A special thanks to our research assistant, Emma Worthington, a PhD student of Fordham University's School Psychology program. And we want to hear from you if you have feedback on this or other episodes, or would like to nominate a guest. Contact us online at edupxe.com. That's edupxe.com.